All right, so May was a really crazy month for sneakers. A lot of sneakers dropped, like a crazy amount dropped in May. And there was quite a few of them that had a really nice resale value. There was a lot of them that flopped though as well. So in this video, I want to cover May's flips and flops. What is going on, guys? Hess here, CollectiveKicks.com. If you guys want to shop this week's top sneaker deals, check the link in the description, and happy shopping. So as I was saying, May was a really crazy month. So let's go ahead and jump right into the flips first. Then we'll get into some flops and then predictions for June. There was about 13 pairs of sneakers in May that if you hit on, you'd make a little bit of money on. So let's go ahead and start with the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1. The drop on May 11th was the largest release of the 3 drops that happened, once on Travis Scott's website, once on Nike.com. This was by far the biggest one, and we figured the prices would go up and then down and then back up. But the highest price in a size 16 is $1,600. On average, though, you're looking at about $1,100 for a pair of Travis Scott Air Jordan 1s. I thought the prices were going to dip a lot lower. I was hoping for 6s and 5s, but the prices are just crazy high. So I don't know. I guess it's one of those shoes that everybody wanted. At the end of the day, there's been a lot of talk on the open market about people buying these shoes and getting sent fake pairs or getting sent pairs that are not perfect. A lot of people say that the fake pairs are really good. In fact, I have a pair coming that I will be comparing to an authentic pair. So I'll be posting that video once I get those shoes in this month. It's crazy how much hype was on that Air Jordan 1, and it's still there. It's definitely talked about, people saying sneaker of the year, but personally I just don't see it. We'll see what happens with the rest of this year though. Next up, the Mars Yard Overshoe by Nike and Tom Sachs. That one dropped also this month again, probably for the last time, and the resale is definitely pretty crazy on that. The retail was real crazy on that one for $550, but they are selling for high 6s and 7s, so it's definitely a shoe that you can make a little bit of money on. Another one that definitely shocked a lot of people when it dropped was a Cactus Plant Flea Market Vapor Max, and it was only a women's shoe, but they dropped a lot of higher sizes for men. The highest price on those is a size 14.5, bid for $1,500. And the lowest is $360. Size 11 is about $700, so definitely a high resale depending on the size that you've got. And the shoe looked kind of cool. It was just a little bit different, but the Friends and Family one had light up LEDs. I was actually hoping all of them did, but I guess it was only the Friends and Family. But the regular ones were definitely a hot commodity, and it's funny that the Vapor Max can draw so much hype on a colorway like that, but you can get the regular Vapor Max 2019s for $100. So interesting to see, but that's the hype game as we know it. Next up, we had the Trophy Room Air Jordan 5 in the ice blue colorway. Prices are pretty high on those as well. They're selling for high 5s right now, and retail was only $200. But if you were really lucky, you got the University Red Friends and Family colorway, and those ones are selling between $5,000 and $8,000. When the creator of the shoes sees the open market and pairs for a sale, it makes them second guess who their friends and family really are. The next up is the Pata Air Jordan 7s. Honestly, I'm surprised this one's reselling for a little bit because Air Jordan 7s just in general don't resell for a lot. This colorway kind of reminds you of the Bordeaux colorway, but depending on your size, you can get a little bit of a flip on it. I see prices ultimately just going down on this shoe though, just because of the Air Jordan 7 hype again, just not really being there. So next up, the Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Glow in the Dark colorway. This one was a random drop from Adidas. Smart move by Adidas. It just was so crazy how it happened. But those retailed at $220 and they're selling for $400 to $500 depending on the size. Really nice come up considering the Yeezy 350 V2s was something that people were sleeping on. Kind of crazy to see that this colorway is drawing a little bit of hype. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the black colorway, but stay tuned to the end of the video as I have my predictions. Moving right on, we have the OG Defiant SB LA to Chicago. This is the one that was purple and yellow, turned into a Chicago Air Jordan 1 if you scratched off the paint. This one was selling for a decent price as well, but the price has definitely dipped a lot. You can get them for the 300 range instead of 4 and 5s like they were selling for originally. Still a nice come up though from the 175 that retail was. Personally, I wouldn't mind just getting a pair for myself. I'd love to take the paint off. Speaking of striking out on the Air Jordan 1s, there is the Air Jordan 1 High Shoe Palace Gina, which is a really cool like fan-based drop specific to Shoe Palace that ended up happening, and the prices definitely dropped quite a bit on those. The last sale for my size in a 9.5 was only $226. They were reselling for mid-4s right after the drop, and then they had a second release of the Ginas. That really kind of took the edge off. But I kind of predicted this from the beginning that this would be a shoe that everybody was geeked up about, and then after it dropped, the prices are just going to keep going down. Everybody did want the lunchbox that it came in though. It looked kind of cool. Another Air Jordan 1 that I listed as a flip was the Air Jordan 1 Retro High Twist. and this is a women's colorway exclusive as well. I would say it is a flip only for specific sizes though. It definitely is a flop for other sizes, so just keeping that in mind. But the high price on it right now in a women's 13 is $407. On the low end, a size 9 women's is only $158. So you can see the variation in supply and demand depending on the shoe size. And moving down the list, we have the Adapt BB in the mag colorway. Super stoked that I was able to get my pair. If you guys missed my review, check my channel. But I ended up getting a pair at retail at $350, which was still pretty high. They are selling for around $500. Some of them are selling for around mid 4s. So there's a little bit of a profit on some sizes and a little bit higher one on others. Ultimately, it's an expensive shoe, but there is a little bit of money to be made depending on the size that you got, which seems to be the theme about pretty much any shoe that we're talking about. And the last up on the list to talk about is the Sacai collaboration with Nike, both the Blazers and the Waffles. But then after the releases on sneakers, I can't believe how much they dropped, like crazy amounts. The Waffles are pretty much under $400 in both colorways. And the Blazers actually took the biggest hit of all. I thought the Blazers would have had a higher resale than the Waffles, especially the blue ones. But right now, the lowest ask in a size 15 is $220. The highest is $346, which is an absolute roller coaster. Mid-May, they were selling for over $1,000 still, and now they're under $300, like super crazy. It's still a flip at the end of the day because it was only $160 at retail, so $300, $160, you do the math, there's still a good amount of money to be made, just not that moonshot that a lot of people were expecting for $1,000 like they were once selling for. And that rounds out all of this month's flips. Let's go ahead and get into these dirty flops. So keep in mind, these are flops for this month after the release, but maybe in 6 months, a year from now, they could go up significantly in value. And so I'm not saying it's an eternal flop, it's just a flop with respect to the fact that it was supposed to be worth more than retail and then some, and then it didn't really work out. I'm gonna go over all these really quickly, and I'm not gonna get into the actual prices of them because they're all pretty much flops, so they're going for close to retail, if not a little bit under. With that in mind, the Air Jordan 4 in the bread colorway, one of the best releases of the month, hands down. One of my favorite releases in the month, but it still is a resale flop because you're not gonna make your money back on most of the sizes. If you're lucky, you make 10 bucks on the shoe after fees and after shipping. So ultimately, it is a flop with the resale market. Huge win though for the consumers out there that actually wanted those shoes and actually just wanted to rock them. And a win for those people that missed out on the release and was able to scoop them up on the open market for close to retail, if not even under, because of the supply and demand. Next up, we have another flop that is the Air Jordan 11 in pink, as well as a light bone colorway. Both of these were OG colorways, I believe, and they just didn't get the love this time around. They were sitting everywhere. Part of the reason maybe because they were massive GR releases, but 175 even, they're not moving anywhere. You can get them for under retail for the most part. The next flop is one that we kind of anticipated would be, and that's the React Presto. It's a new model that ended up releasing. They didn't do like an energy drop on these. They did a massive release with a bunch of different colorways. If you saw my review, they're really amazing on feet. Super comfortable shoes. Definitely one of the top 5 comfortable shoes in 2019. And if you guys really want to see a top 5 or 10 most comfortable sneakers in 2019 video, drop a like on this video and leave me a comment, and I will do so in the next month or so. Continuing the flops though, we have the Alpha Edge 4D from Adidas. 300 bucks on this shoe. They're not selling. They're really not selling. I think the price point is a little bit high, and since the last releases really didn't sell through very well and there was definitely no resale on them, it definitely pulled back consumers from this last release because they were like, not gonna fall for this one again. I took a wash or I lost money on the last 4Ds, so I'm not gonna bother with these ones, so they didn't even bother. It's kind of interesting to see what's gonna happen with the Adidas 4D line. I already did a video on my thoughts on whether or not it's already too late for this new technology or not. If you guys missed that video, go check it out on my channel. And speaking of Adidas, we have the BBC Pharrell NMD collaboration that was a pretty big flop as well. They sold out on adidas.com, but the resale side of it, you're not making your money back on those, unfortunately. You're probably losing 40 bucks depending on your sizes on those. Honestly, I kind of like the colorway though. The blue plaid sort of thing looked kind of cool. 2 more flops, Fear God, Mock, and then I'm gonna add the Air Raid to this one. And it's kind of what happens when you saturate the market with a new model, the Fog Air Raid, and then the Moccasin in one colorway, and then 3 weeks later you drop another 2 colorways. It's just gonna saturate to the point where the first colorways are gonna be knocked down, and as a result, the Air Raids in the black colorway, not desired either. You can get both of them under retail. The Raids look pretty dope though. I wouldn't mind picking up a pair of those on the open market, but the Mocks, yo, nope, they can keep those. Sticking to the Nike theme, we had the LeBron 3s SVSM Retro. You'd think there would be some hype on this, but there was not. It is not a good look right now for Nike basketball retros. 5 years ago, we really wanted a LeBron retro. Now we're getting them and they're just not selling out. We've seen quite a few of them. And this colorway is super dope. Back in the day, it would have been something that people were really interested in. But now it's not something that people are buying. They're sitting at retailers and they're sitting under retail on the open market. So definitely a flop. The next flop is the Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG Defiant SB NYC to Paris. Whatever, that's too big of a name. I don't know why they had to throw Defiant in the mix. It's a counterpart to the LA Chicago joint, and this one was mass produced comparison to the LA one. So part of the reason why the LA one still has a little bit of resale, but the other pair they made so many pairs of and they dropped them all over the place that the resale is definitely really low on that one. Some select sizes, yes, you might make some money, but for the most part, it's a no-go. And honestly, not really feeling the color combinations of that one. They should have had it scratch off and turn into a shadow. To be honest, that would have been way better. Leave a thumbs up on the video if you guys like that suggestion better. I think that would have looked way doper, but it is what it is. Next flop is the Nike basketball LeBron Icon and John Elliott collaboration. Really dope in concept, but really high in retail as well. $250 at retail is too much. They are reselling for about $200, which is honestly the price that they should have really dropped for. But it goes back to the LeBron retro and the Nike basketball retro craze just not really being there yet. Next flop is the Nike Shox R4 Neymar in the black colorway. Honestly, super fire. I really like this one. I think it looks like it would be really dope up close as well as from a distance, but it's not one that's selling for more than retail. It's actually selling for less than retail on the open market. So because of that, obviously it's a flop for the resellers. But if I see those at the Nike Employee Store, I'm copping them no matter what. They're just super dope looking. And the last flop is the Adidas Ultra Boost, an undefeated collaboration. Another one that was unnecessary. Another one with a white base Ultra Boost that we didn't need with a little bit of graphic on it that just didn't make any sense. Honestly, just a terrible collab in my opinion. They could have done so much better. They've really watered down that undefeated Ultra Boost collaboration thing and made him look so terrible that I don't think anybody cares about it anymore. Really unfortunate for me because I love undefeated and I love the Ultra Boost, obvious, but this was not a match made in heaven. All right, so moving on to the last part of the video, we have the predictions for June 2019. A lot of people asked me to do the predictions in a previous video from last month, so I'm listening to you guys out there that left those comments. Thank you for doing so. It's really impossible to stay in front of the curve on this type of stuff. There's random drops that happen all the time, which is part of the reason why I like doing the recap afterwards, so you can see what happens. But if you guys are interested in this, let's do it. So I know I'm already late because of the timing of this video. We already had the Fog 1 drops in both of those crazy bright colors, and both of those were flips. The Ray Allen 7, though, was a super flop. Definitely not one that people cared about. But as I already mentioned, it's an Air Jordan 7. People just, for the most part, don't love those shoes. Predictions coming up, though, we have the 700 V2 Vantas. I think those are going to be flops. I think it's a cool colorway. The biggest problem, though, of all is the retail being $300 for those. Retail should be $150. Let's be 100% about it. The next release a lot of people are talking about is the 350 V2 in the black colorway. I think it's kind of cool that we're getting some hype around the V2s again, but it's not going to be a huge profit on those ones. It's going to be a flip still. Definitely some sizes are not going to flip as much because they're probably going to be mass producing 9, 10, 11, 12, those sizes. But the smaller sizes and bigger sizes, you could probably make some really good money on. Next up, we have the Air Jordan 6, 7, and 8 Champ Pack, Reflections of a Champion, or whatever that's called. Whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, it's going to be called a flop. 220 is too much on those. Reflective looks cool, and I like the 6. 7s look kind of weird. 8s look kind of weird to me personally, but price point's too high in those, and I don't think people are going to be that interested in them. Next, we have the Yeezy Boost 700 V2 Tephra. I don't know how to say this. Whatever it is, it's $300, and in my mind, it's going to be a flop. I don't see it reselling at all. It's a cool colorway, but I already bought the Geodes, and I already bought the Mauves. I don't need another earth tone like Yeezy 7. I don't understand what the heck they think they're doing, but flop in my mind. We also have the Air Max 90 Be True, and it looks cool. I like the multiple swooshes on the side or whatever with the rainbow pattern. I think it's a great looking shoe, not one I think is going to resell. I think it's going to drop and go under or close to retail once they end up releasing. So in mid-June, we also have an Air Jordan 4 in a Flyknit model, but ultimately I think it's going to be a flop. It's going to be too expensive. I think it's going to be $225, but most likely it's going to be a flop just because it's not necessary. Also, they're all like singular colors, and I just don't know. They're too bright, and I don't see a lot of people flocking to any of those 3 crazy bright colors. Unless they're like ultra massively limited, it's not going to be one that people are going to care about. Next up, Adidas Ultra Boost has a Toy Story collaboration. I guess there's a Buzz as well as a Woody Ultra Boost. If I've seen images of these, which I think I have, they don't look very good, if I'm going to be 100% honest. I feel like it was a really poorly designed theme on both of them, where they could have a lot of potential and they didn't just execute it properly. But because of that, they're both going to be flops in my opinion. So the Air Jordan 14 in the yellow Ferrari colorway, I feel like this is going to be a pretty massively available shoe, and I feel like you might be able to make a little bit of money, just a teeny bit of money on some of the sizes, but for the most part, it's going to be a flop. But if the buzz is good about the quality of the shoe, maybe the hype is a little bit better, but I just don't see that happening. At the end of June, we have another Off-White collaboration. It is with the Zoom Terra Kiger 5. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it. It is a Nike running shoe, I believe. But with the Off-White branding and the Off-White name, of course, you're going to have a bit of a flip on those. Even though it's on a really odd, untraditional model, it's not going to have the value of like the 10, I don't think. But it's still going to be a shoe that people are gunning for to cop, even if it's in a women's only release. And the last one that we know about so far for the month of June is the Yeezy Boost 700 Utility Black. Not the V2, but the regular one, which is already dropping. The Vanta's already dropping earlier in the month. So it's like 2 black shoes and 2 different 700 models by the end of the month, each $300. Safe flop on this one as well. Cool colorway, $300. The third 700 released in June. The 5th or 6th that we've seen in recent times. It's just not one that I see for people caring about, but it is a standard colorway that I think will go well. But anyway, that wraps up the flips and flop predictions for June. And if you guys want to see this type of video in the future, next month's, leave a comment in this video and give the video a thumbs up and let me know that you guys still want to see these videos, because honestly, it is a real chore for me to make these videos, but I enjoy doing it. It's fun to be able to talk about. I would love to continue the series, but it has to generate some sort of steam. Otherwise, it's not worth the time and the effort it is to create the videos. But regardless, thank you guys for stopping by and watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, notification bell to be notified of when the videos go live. And have a great rest of the day. More videos soon. Peace, guys.